Hey there, this is Pastor Lois coming to you with a fresh devotion based on one of the readings from January 17th. And I'm sorry, it's been a couple of weeks since I did a new one. It's been a little crazy between preaching and going to school. And I'm talking to you from my office at home because I just finished taking a class on Zoom, like a lot of you are doing these days too. So the reading is from 1 Samuel, which is one of two books about this guy named Samuel and a lot of people that are kind of around his life. And Samuel was a priest and a prophet. That means he was a pastor. And then as a prophet, he did a lot of different things. Prophets would help interpret what was going on and would tell people like kings what they needed to do differently to follow what God wanted them to do. And another thing they got to do is when somebody became king is they got to pour this very special, incredibly, wonderfully smelling oil on the king's head, which sounds kind of weird, but it feels good. Okay. And it lets the people know that this guy is indeed the new king. And in fact, one of the people that Samuel anointed was David. Yeah, that king that we heard about. One of the times we heard about him recently was on Christmas Eve, because we hear that Jesus was born in the city of David, which is a different name for Bethlehem. Anyways, in this story, though, Samuel is a boy, and he's working for this old guy named Eli, and Eli is also his teacher. So they help each other, really. And Samuel sleeps in the temple, which is basically a church. And one night he hears somebody call, Samuel, Samuel. He says, here I am, and he runs to Eli, thinking Eli was the one calling him, because they lived in the temple. And Eli's like, no, it wasn't me, go to bed. And this happened three times on the same night. And when it happened the third time, Eli goes, oh my goodness, I think you're hearing from God. So if it happens again, say this, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Sure enough, it happens again. Samuel, Samuel. The boy hears this, and so he says, speak, for your servant is listening. And sure enough, God talks to him and says, see, I am about to do something that will make both ears of anyone who hears of it tingle, which means God's about to tell him something really incredible that's going to go on. And that's as far as I want to take the story today, because I think an important message of this story is the importance of listening to God, or listening for God. And when we pray, that's part of what we're supposed to be doing. Praying is not just about talking to God. It's also about being quiet for a while and listening for God. Now, we might not actually hear God's voice, but we might get the sense of a new direction, or a good feeling that something that we were worrying about is going to be better, or that you just get a brand new idea that will cause something good to happen in our lives. So next time you think you might hear something going on, or just have this feeling that God might be trying to tell you something, tell God, speak, for your servant is listening.